Welcome to this webinar on response options. So we'll jump straight in and demonstrate to you all the response options that you can use in Testable. So I created a project that is called response options. And let's start with the trial file. We've defined the trial file. First of all, I would like to show you all the default options in Testable. So by default, even without specifying anything related to response, to the response options that participants have, Testable assumes a default response type. And that differs depending on how many stimuli you have presented on the screen. So if there is only one stimulus presented on the screen, the default option is a response box. If you have more than one stimulus on the screen and there are images and words, then the default option is to click on them, to select one of them by clicking on them. If it's audio or video, the default response is a response box as well. So let's illustrate those. So let's illustrate it with images. So we have 3 trials here, all images, format JPEG, and let's have also stim2 here. So the first one should be image1. That's the file name of the default testable image. We don't specify anything in terms of responses. You see it's all blank here and here. And you can have image1 and image2 in the second trial. Actually, let's make it very, very basic. So let's skip only this for now. So that's all we have in our trial file, okay? The first trial presenting one image, and the second trial presenting 2 images. Let's save it. And you saw that we haven't specified anything in terms of responses that we would like. So in this case, when I upload the experiment, we see first image on the screen, and then the response box as the default. I need to type in something and then press enter, and then 2 images on the screen. Default now is to click on one of them to select. Okay? Right. So what are the other response options that we have? So in case we are not happy with these default options, we have a range of other possibilities. So the first one is to add some buttons on the screen. And you can add as many buttons as you want. So let's say button 1, button 3, let's go only up to 3 for now. So you can say here, you can specify the labels. Depending on how many labels you specify here, that's how many buttons you'll see on the screen, right? In this case, we'll see 2 buttons. Here, if we define 3 buttons, 1, 2, 3, we'll see all 3 of them on the screen. Let's have some other options. So in this case, enabling some keys on the keyboard. So we define that with column called keyboard. And I want to enable keys 1 and 0. That's how I have to write it. I can also use left, right, up, down. These are the arrows. I can also use enter, and I can also use space. So these are the possibilities, or any other letter, any other digit for the keyboard. Okay, we'll see all of this. Then let's say that I have only one image on the screen. I'm not happy with the default response, which is to type in something in a box, but I want to click on the image. Either a pure click or to record also the location in pixel where I clicked, or at least the area where I clicked on the image. So I am doing that with response type. And I define here clicks. That means that I'm after clicks for responses. Let's add 2 more. So in this case, it's just going to record the image on which I'm clicking. If you have 2 images here, it's going to record either 1 or 2, depending on whether we clicked on image 1 or image 2. If it's just 1, it's always going to be 1, obviously. But then I can also specify pixel in response options, which means that I'm interested in the pixel location of my selection of my click on the button on the image. Or I can overimpose an invisible grid of cells on top of the image and record the cell in which I clicked. So let's say that I want to create a grid 3x4 on top of that. So I will have a grid of 3 rows and 4 columns imposed, invisible grid imposed on the image, and the program is going to record in which cells I clicked. I'm going to show the results to illustrate how this looks like. So let's upload this trial file and go through all these options. All right, so that's the first trial with left and right. These are our responses here. Then the second one, we have 1, 2, and 3 buttons for 2 images. Okay, then the third trial is keyboard 1 or 0. Okay, then I move to the fourth trial. In this case, I can press left, right, up, down, enter, or space. Then I move to the following trial. This trial is clicking, so I can click on it. Then this one also click on it, but in this case, it's going to record the location of my click. So let's click in the upper right corner. And let's click also in the upper right corner in this case, where I'm going to be given the cell where I clicked from this invisible grid. So if we go now to the results, you will see how the responses were recorded. So these are our responses. So for the buttons, I have the number referring to the button that I clicked. So in this case, the first button, then the second button. Here I pressed 1. Here I pressed left. Here I clicked on image 1. There was only one image on the screen. Here I clicked on image 1. So that's this little indicator here. But anyway, it was only one image on the screen. And the location was 294 times 7. So that was 294 pixels to the left on the image and 7 pixels down on the image. So that starts from the upper left corner of the image to count the number of pixels. Obviously, the size of my image seems to be 300 by 300 pixels. And then here, I overimpose this grid 3x4, and I clicked in the upper right corner, which means that I clicked on the third column and the first row on that image. Okay? Okay, let's review some of the other options for responses that we can have. Also with images, let's stick to the images. Oh, that's the results file. I can close this. I can return to the trial file. So let's delete this for now. And let's try some of the other response types. So another response type is labels. So you can have here a label and then define the actual label. Let's say good or bad. These are going to be the labels that I can drag on top of the stimuli. And let's say here as well. Okay, another option that I can have is to have multiple response boxes. So in this case, I put box here for one box, but if I want 3 of them, I just put box times 3, and then I'll have 3 boxes in which I can insert my my responses. And then another thing I should show you about the clicks is that you can click on multiple images so select multiple images at the same time. And you define that here in the response option. So you can say minimum required in order to advance to the next trial is 2 for selection, let's say, and the maximum is 3. So I can select anything between 2 and 3 images here. Obviously, I need to increase also the number of images that I present. So let's say that I have image 2 here and image 3 as well. So 3 stimuli in this trial. Oops, and this one should be stim 3. So let's see what happens now. We re-upload the trial file. And access the experiment. So 2 buttons and then 3 buttons. We've seen that already. And then this one with 2 labels, right? So I can drag the labels. Okay. If I need to correct my choices, I need to put them back here and then move this one here and then this one here. And then I can press on next and I move to the next one. You can define as many labels as you want here. Okay. Then I have 3 boxes. That's the response from here, box times 3. Let's say first, second, and third. Okay. And then I have 3 images here. And to be able to advance to the next trial, I need to click or to select at least 2. So I'm going to select image 1. You see the blue border stays on because it's selected. Then image 2. Okay, that's the minimum. And I got also the button here to advance if I want. But I can also select 3. And that's the maximum. And the moment I reach the maximum, I automatically advance to the next trial. And I can click on confirm, and that's it. Okay. All right. Let's see to illustrate some of the other options that are possible with the boxes, for example. Let's get rid of the first ones. By the way, these responses work for all stimuli. So you can use them for words, you can use them for sounds, you can use them for videos. I'm just illustrating that for images because it's easier. So let's say that I have image 1 and I want a box and I'm asking for some numbers in this box. I can specify minimum again and maximum. Okay. So let's say between 1 and 10. I want to have a number between 1 and 10. Also, if I have multiple boxes, I can specify a sum to which all the numbers in the boxes should add up. So let's say 10 here. Okay, let's see what happens with all in these two. Okay, come on. No. Okay, dragging here, the trial file. And accessing again the experiment. Okay, so now you see the box, that's for numbers. So if I type in 12, I think the maximum was 10, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so if I type in 12, so that's not possible. I need to make it 9, and then I can go to the next trial. Okay, now I have 3 boxes here that need to sum up to 10. So if I have something like that, response does not add up to the expected sum. So I can only have 1 here, and then I can go to the next trial. So I can also have that. Also, with response type box, I can position this response wherever I want. So I can use a column that is called response pos from response positioning. And I can specify here the location where I want the box. I can do it in pixel. I can specify the position in pixel, or I can specify it with some labels. All information about these columns and the possible options you have in the manual in the chapter dedicated to columns to define responses. So everything that I'm presenting is available here. So you see, for example, column keyboard. These are all the options that you can have. For response types, these are all the options. We should talk about the slider and the mic. We covered the others. And also here, you have information about response pos. So these are the labels that you can use to position the response boxes below, above, to the left, or to the right of the image. Okay. Oops. Let's try something like that. Okay, and let's demonstrate also the slider. So response type, slider. By default, you'll see a slider between 0 and 100 in steps of 1, but you can customize that slider. So if you want a Likert scale between 1 and 7, you just type in 1 to 7 or just 7. Okay, let's put also the starting position. You can also define the steps. So let's say you want a Likert scale, but not all the numbers to be available, only jumping from 1 to 3 to 5 to 7, so steps of 2, you write it like that. And then let's say that you want the starting position to be not at 1, which is default, but to be somewhere in the middle. So you put 5. That should be the starting position. Oh, actually it should be, sorry, 4 in this case. It's not going to work in steps of 2, but let's just keep it like that. So it's going to be a Likert from 1 to 7. The starting position is going to be 4. And then you have some additional flags here that you can use for sliders to customize how the slider appears. So you can hide the grid, which are the numbers below the slider. You can hide min max, and you can hide the we can hide the value, and you can also hide. There was another option, another thing that you could hide. Just 1 second. The cursor when you move the cursor around on the slider. So let's try and to see how this looks like. Okay, re-upload the trial file. You see the response box to the left of the image now? That's what we selected. In the following trial, you see the slider, the default slider between 0 and 100, steps of 1. Then we see this slider from 1 to 7. Then the following slider 1 to 7, but steps of 2. And then from 1 to 7, starting at 4. And then hiding the mean and the maximum and hiding the grid, the numbers below. And I have that. Okay. In addition, another thing I haven't shown is that you can have a slider where you define yourself the points. So you can have from very bad, average, good, very good. So there's going to be a slider with 5 points, and these are going to be the points. So you can also define the slider in this way. Okay, these are the different types of responses that you can have. The last thing to demonstrate is response window. So that refers to the interval, the time window that you give to participants to respond. If they don't respond within that time interval, then the trial automatically proceeds to the next one. By default, the participants are able to respond when the presentation of the last screen in a trial begins. So if you have only one screen per trial, meaning you have only one stimulus, or you have a series of stimuli but are presented simultaneously on one screen, that's basically from the moment the stimuli appear on the screen. So if I have here image 1, image 2, image 3, then I can provide the response as soon as the images are on the screen. But I can also have well, let's get rid of some of this. I can also have sequential presentation of stimuli. So I want these 3 images to appear on separate screens, 1 stimulus per screen. So in this case, I need to specify the ISI, the interstimulus intervals, and also the presentation times. So the first stimulus for 200 milliseconds as well, second for 200, and the third I want to be on the screen. I want to have it on the screen indefinitely for unlimited presentation time. Okay, so let's say in this case, and let's see also with the keys enabled, what's going to happen. So we're going to check only the first 2 trials. Oops, not this one. Okay, I need this. So the presentation started, we had image 1, image 2, and then image 3, and the response box appeared only with image 3. I don't know if you noticed that, and maybe because it started immediately, it was not very obvious. So let's add an instruction screen here, just that I can start the presentation with some content starting now, let's say, something like that. Okay, let's try again. Okay. So now you see image 1, image 2, image 3, and then the response box appears with image 3. And the same image 1, we have here, well, in this case, we only had image 1. We forgot to define all the other images. So the responses start now. I can press on the response now. Okay, so what happens if you want to modify this? So let's say I want to give participants only 5 seconds to respond. Well, first of all, I can check the manual. I'm going to do it so that you know how to look for information here. So I want to look for response window to see the information that I have about response window in the manual. So it's on page 12. So this is what I can specify. The timeout, meaning after how many milliseconds the trial should time out. I can also specify the start time and the timeout. I can also specify whether I want participants to be able to respond with the first stim, with the last stim, after the stim, or with the stim. These are important when I have sequential presentation trials. So maybe I want, maybe I have 3 stimuli to present in succession, and I want participants to be able to respond only after they have seen all the stimuli. In this case, I would select after stim. So after all the presentation was finished. It can also be the case that I have some audio files or video files, and I want the participants to respond only after they finish. So I would use the same the same options here. And you have all the examples here, how you should use it. So one example, the easiest is response window equals 2000. That means I only have 2 seconds to respond. Another one is that I want to start after 1 second of presentation and up to 2 seconds. Okay, and another one is after steam. Let's demonstrate these 3 options here. So in this case, let's have some buttons on the screen. Yes and no. Okay, can get rid of the box here. And instead, let's add here response window. So here I'm gonna give it 3 seconds to respond. Let's get rid of the sequential presentation as well. 3 seconds to respond there. Then the next one, I'm gonna be able to respond between 2 seconds and 5 seconds. And the following one I want after steam. Note that in this case, after steam doesn't make much sense because I don't have any presentation time here, right? So I will never be able to respond because the presentation of the stimuli never ends. So I would need to add here a presentation time, let's say 2 seconds. So the responses will be enabled after the stimuli disappear from the screen. So let's check this. Okay, so the first trial, I have 3 seconds. The second one, I can respond between 2 seconds and 5 seconds. And the third one after the stimuli disappear. Okay. 3 seconds, I didn't respond. This disappeared and they moved to the next trial. It was not obvious because I don't have an inter-trial interval. So the stimuli look like they stay on the screen. So let's fix that as well to make it obvious. Because now every trial slides into the next one. So let's have an inter-trial interval of 1000 milliseconds like that. I will see more clearly when one trial finishes and the other one starts. Okay, so I have 2 seconds for this. I didn't respond. The experiment moves forward. After 2 seconds, I get the buttons on the screen. They stay here until the 5th second. Then the experiment moves forward to the third one. I see the stimuli, they disappear, and then the buttons are on the screen. Okay, I hope this all is clear. There are a few other possibilities for you to try out with the response window. Please check them in the manual and let us know if you have any questions. Don't hesitate to contact us. Email to contact@testable.org and we'll be happy to respond. Thanks a lot for attending this webinar, and I hope that you register for the other webinars as well. Ciao, ciao.